Virgo, this is your January 2022 soul story. So once you've come into acceptance with something, then change is going to happen really fast for you this month. This is Romy. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in. We're going to give you some key astrological dates and some intuitive messages that we'll be breaking down to help you understand the energy conversation and equip you to navigate through the next few weeks more effectively. So we're opening up with the energy of love. Now this particular deck, she has a play on some of the major arcana and she's actually flipped some of the placements of them, which I thought was kind of interesting for a new year, just to give us almost that pattern interruption. So we're opening up January with number 16, but it is actually the energy of the lovers. And here's a choice for you, because there is something that I feel you do need to release. And as soon as you do, Virgo, there's this beautiful sense of being able to move on, to move up, to move out, beautiful ascension that takes place. And you really seem to come back into harmony with something within yourself. So if you've been struggling, if you've been grappling to kind of come to terms with something, this is a month actually where I feel like you make peace with it. And that's really important because it's going to directly impact a lot of the relationships and connections around you. Now we're still in Venus retrograde energy, remember, right through to the end of January. So a firm focus around reviewing and coming back to the table in some of the important relationships in our life. In fact, this whole idea of putting everything on the table in January is a really important theme to understand, because it's not necessarily true to say that you're going to have all of the answers and make all of those firm commitments, but there are more options, and so therefore we want you to be doing more research into things. Now we're also going to be welcoming your ruler Mercury taking its first retrograde transit of the year in the air sign of Aquarius on the 14th of the month. Sometimes that can scramble things a little bit, make you feel like you're overthinking or overanalyzing. And overall this month, there is this kind of restless energy that's playing out. Now, unmanaged, it can end up feeling like you are a little bit anxious or a little bit nervous. Part of that's going to be because you're almost feeling into some of the bigger changes that are happening. What you're also doing is coming to terms with really aligning and adapting to some of the new vibrational energies as well. So that's going to feel a little bit odd to you, a little bit different, and it might take you a few weeks just to kind of find your sea legs with that as well. So we've got the Two of Water, the Two of Cups here, and I feel like you're actually being given some beautiful support. You know, there's some wisdom coming through for you. So if you do feel like you're at a little bit of a crossroads, choices and decisions to make, or just trying to kind of really figure out if you can trust in what your gut's saying, I do have a sense that the universe is delivering either the right person, the right experience, the right energy to give you some sense of reassurance and validation, okay? This is a month where it's really important that you understand you're going to be breaking cycles. But in order to do that, we have to be incredibly discerning. We have to question the validity of everything in terms of how it relates to our personal experience. This is what is going to be key to you being able to break out of any kind of denial, but also to see things for what they truly are, okay? Because one of the things I want to say to you is that you're getting much more aware of whether things are being given as a promise or a possibility. What do we mean by that? Well, if there's a promise, there's a sense of a commitment coming through there, okay? Something that you feel like you can actually invest in. If it's a possibility, it's coming forth from someone or something as, yes, it may not happen. Now, either one is not necessarily right or wrong, but what you do need through the month of January is a little bit of certainty for yourself. And so being able to understand where other people are in the journey, or perhaps what's going on in a specific area, environment, work, professionally, then it's clear that understanding if it is a promise or if it is a possibility is going to help you to know how much energy to be directing. So you've got the Three of Water, the Three of Cups coming in. There's a celebration here. You've got an awful lot of beautiful emotional cards coming through just right off the gate. And what I want to say to you is I do have a sense that there are going to be multiple things on the table for you. I feel like that's going to translate in terms of multiple options, multiple offers, multiple income streams. Like, it feels quite auspicious in that sense, okay? At the same time, there may be some multiple challenges for you to be dealing with as well. But remember, when we noted that once you come into a sense of acceptance with something, then things are going to happen very quickly. It's a month when you come out of the other side that you'll be almost like it came and it went so fast, but actually I've managed to make enormous amounts of progress. So the new moon in Capricorn comes in on the 2nd of the month, and it will feel very different energetically. You really should have a sense of a clearance from that particular moon, and it's going to help you to conserve, because the boost that it will give you, there's a sense of stamina and endurance that you're going to need to help you to navigate through the rest of the month. Okay, so we've got the Witch of Earth here, so this connects into the energy of the Knight of Pentacles. Okay, so the Knight of Pentacles again gives us that commitment, gives us that ability for having what it takes in terms of the endurance of something. Now, you're gripping on quite tightly to this staff here, so there's a little bit of tension here. What I'm going to say to you is remember to relax a little bit. You're probably quite clear in something that you want or something that you know you have to do, and maybe there's a little bit of trepidatious energy around that. We can't actually see your eyes here, so you're overly protecting yourself, and perhaps that's, maybe there's an element of you feeling like, I need to protect my heart with all of these emotional energies coming through, or I need to protect my position. But I feel it's important to sort of just say to you, you need to keep relaxing into the body, Again, these retrograde energies can often bring things back from the past, and so that can be a little bit triggering and disrupt your energy a little bit. But this is a month where I feel like you can do less and you can do it better. Okay, so keep that in mind. Even where we have all of these multiple things, it doesn't mean you have to say yes to everything. It doesn't mean that you have to feel that you have to show up for all of the people that might be wanting your energy, your attention, your time. You just have to get really clear on what's important to you, what your why is. But I do feel like there's some firm offers coming, and I feel that January is definitely a time to negotiate, Virgo. It's not necessarily the month when you're going to want to sign on the dotted line with some of these retrograde energies, but by the time you come out to the end of January, I think you're in a much more clarifying position for yourself, and I think that's going to bring a breath of fresh air actually for you. And for many of you, because we are working as we come into Aquarius energy with 6th house, that's all about how we're of service, the way we're taking care of ourselves, the rituals and sacred practices that we're putting into place. Then there's something here about you really getting on board with, from a career perspective, either a new direction or sort of reaffirming your commitment to something and wanting to kind of bring it back to life in some way. Now, with these retrograde transits, often we are revisiting relationships, both personally, professionally, romantically. What I want to say to you is you need to remember, if we're looking at second chances are fine, but if there's no growth, if there hasn't been a change in attitude, if there hasn't been healing that's taken place, then really the second chance is just another repeat pattern. And you're past that. You really are past that. Now, your 5 of fire, which is the 5 of wands energy, suggests there's a little bit of conflict going on here, a little bit of tussle happening. Maybe it's around you, maybe you're in direct kind of a little bit of an argumentative situation with someone, or even yourself. Maybe you feel a little bit conflicted about something as you're holding on quite tightly to that staff there. I do feel like there's something going on around you. What I'm going to say is that you may be steeling yourself, and it's not actually going to end up as bad as what you think, okay? There's something about the energy of that as well. Perhaps you're anticipating what people's responses are going to be or how something's going to play out. But I have a sense that the universe, it's almost like they're going to kind of, at the 11th hour, just sort of redirect you away from something. I kind of want to give you reassurance. I feel like it doesn't have to be as dramatic as perhaps what you're feeling into. Now we've got a full moon coming in the sign of Cancer on the 17th of the month. That comes in your 11th house of community. Also aligns with your hopes and dreams. It may be that there's something going on with a friendship or social circle. That's where that kind of tension might be playing out a little bit. But it also talks about the way in which you use technology. And so there may be some choices and decisions coming in around that time in terms of your involvement in different digital kind of ways of expressing yourself. You know, if you use different social media platforms for work and things, or how you're connecting to people. So there might be a little bit of an overhaul and a decision to let something go, release something in and around that full moon. We also have during that time Uranus stationing direct in Taurus on the 18th. Now remember, when these planets move, they can feel a little bit disruptive in our energy. And so right on top of that full moon, you may be feeling like extra sensitive during that time, okay? And we've got the Knight of Cups coming in here. So that sensitivity can be something that we can harness really beautifully, because we also have this amazing Jupiter and Pisces transit, which came in right at the end of December, and it's going to be with us through May. Now, this is a gorgeous time to be working with our own spiritual growth, but also artistically, the mastery of kind of really tuning into our own gifts, of to be feeling inspired, to be working creatively with new projects. Like all of this is kind of lit up beautifully, and the Knight of Cups is really emphasizing that. But again, I feel like there's offers and proposals on the table for you coming in January. Now, it may well be a water sign that's specific, Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio. If that is the case, there's quite a lot of churn around her here. Like the waves are quite high, and that sort of tail that she's coming through with the mermaid, it feels like it could just kind of flip. So there's a little bit of a sense of it being, to me, a wee bit unpredictable, okay? So am I completely certain that that offer, that proposal is sustainable and something that can be built upon? I would suggest kind of maybe a little bit of a wait and see. You know, the thing that we need to remember is in the connections, whether they are new, whether they're existing in our relationships, we're always moving through phases, Virgo. And if we can recognize that we're never really at exactly the same phase at exactly the same time, that's going to go a long ways to helping you understand and appreciate how to have a little bit more patience and discernment through the process. Because, you know, at any given time, you may be in an energy of clarification, of healing, of joy, but you may also be in exhaustion or overwhelm. And so where you're on one page and your partner or your friend or your coworker and colleague is working through something else, then it can sometimes be that sort of challenge to come together and communicate. And relationships can take a lot of work and energy. So just come into an appreciation of that, because part of these retrograde energies are about helping you to address things within the self, to really be able to allow some of those wounds to be dealt with so that you're clear about what you're projecting, and then you can find tolerance and compassion for where the other person is in their particular journey. And if it is something that you want to work on, you know, that you want to find a way forward, then bear that in mind, because people don't always know, Virgo, how to love you. They don't know how to necessarily get the best out of you. And so sometimes we have to teach them, we have to educate them, we have to keep those lines of communication constantly open. And so you have here the Page of Wands, and I feel it is through that open, honest, warm, non-threatening stance that you're making in those important situations through the month of January that you can really help to move things forward in terms of those important relationships. So if you have been coming up against like a constant block with somebody and just feeling like, I don't know how to get past that, here's an opportunity for you to sort of say, have you actually discussed with them what it is that you need, or what you expect from them, or how they can get the best from you? I think that's going to go a long ways. But I also feel like there's important communication incoming, and I feel like there's people who either want to work with you or are really keen to connect with you. And I feel this is coming in on a real positive arc. So there's something about this that says, actually, you can You can take something further than what you'd anticipated through this network or through this opportunity to really align or to discuss. You've got that energy of the Lovers coming in as well, so there could be this sort of partnership situation that might be being discussed as well, coming in on a professional capacity. The Knight of Pentacles as well suggests to me that there is a sense of endurance and longevity there, but again, because I said this proposal, has it got a firm foundation, it's a bit of a wait and see. Just make sure you don't jump into anything too quickly is kind of what I want to say in relation to that. I also have the sense that we do need to release something. There's something that has to go. There's some sort of burden or something that you're holding on to. It may just be an attitude, a way of thinking that something has to come together. And January is going to want to kind of flip it on its head a little bit for you, and that can feel uncomfortable because you might be a little bit resistant to some of the changes that are going to end up coming up as a result of that. Now you've got the Ace of Air here. This has been making an appearance in all of the soul stories for the month of January. For me, it's because we have this amazing spiritual truth that's now emerging. And it's really helping us to see things that we have never seen before. We're really getting to the bones of things. You know, they've got this beautiful harp and there's a new tune that's being played here. And it is because we've got to a stage where we're tired and weary of hearing the same narrative over and over again. And there's a mistrust that's emerged. Now that's going to be coming in on the collective, but it's also perhaps very personal for you as well in terms of what you've been hearing from people over and over again. Back to what I said, is it a promise or is it a possibility? Because you have this desire to be moving on, to be moving up, moving out, you know, there is this sense of appreciation actually for the clarity here. What I like about the fact that this ace keeps showing up everywhere is that even though we have these retrograde energies that can sometimes feel very overwhelming and can cause all of these kind of misunderstandings and be very confusing, this is cutting right through it. So there is this level of certainty that whatever you're feeling into intuitively is going to be backed up by some evidence and some real kind of tangible truth that you can then get very deliberate and intentional about what your next step needs to be, okay? And we have Mars shifting into Capricorn later in the month on the 24th, and I love that transit for being like really determined and kind of giving you that strong focus, and also again that endurance to kind of see something through. It's going to be really helpful. And remember, by the 29th, when Venus does station direct, even though we'll have shadow through the month of February, you're going to be in a position where you know where you stand in a lot of these important relationships. But also remember, that was very much about what's going on in terms of your abundance and your money story, your sense of value, your value consciousness is what we've been working with. So again, that Ace of Air is breaking through and giving you some really powerful options. Here we have Seven of Cups, the choices. I love this for you. The choices are going to be in abundance, okay? So don't feel that you're going to be backed into a corner. It's not going to be the reality of January for you at all. But equally, that means you don't want to invest all of your energy or put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure you kind of spread the risk a little bit. Or you just stay open to the possibility of different ways of approaching things, different ways of doing things. Now, Jupiter in Pisces and this Neptunian energy that comes up with the Seven of Cups, the sort of flip side of that is that we can get a little bit into that sense of feeling a bit disillusioned. You know, there can be a little bit more of an addictive tendency that emerges. And so we are going to have to be careful that we don't get kind of pulled into that. And there is that sort of undercurrent of energy that's going to want to try to almost like cause that doubt. It's that seed of doubt, you know, and you're going to notice sharper than you ever have before, because I can see the discernment that's emerging this month for you, where people are just constantly trying to kind of poke the bear with you. Do you know, they're just trying to kind of cause chaos. And you know, when you demonstrate a level of clarity and intentionality, then they are specifically playing a role to try to unpick it for you. So if you're not careful, it could again tap into that sort of restless, anxious, nervous energy. I need you to move over and above that, because I see that you are actually not only incredibly capable this month of being able to figure out what's right for you, but you are going to be stripping back. You know, you're going to be looking at everything that's on the table and be very clear about the things that you want and what you want to bring together in a way that's going to support you in, you know, the weeks to come. Now, when you accept, back to this theme, when you accept something, and honestly, I feel for many of you, it's going to be along the lines of accepting that actually you know what's right for you, or you know something that you need to let go or release, or truly where somebody stands in terms of their thoughts and feelings and energy about you. Then the change happens very fast. And so I want you to kind of almost be in preparation for that, because I have a sense that when we come into February, there's just a little bit of a waterfall effect, almost an avalanche, okay, which suggests to me that it could feel like it could knock you over quite quickly, just because of the sheer amount of energy that gets released, which means that a lot could happen. You could be propelled, there could be like a really fast upward motion, and again you're going to be feeling into that. So if you can't shake this sort of restless, nervous energy, understand that it's also kind of spirit like preparing you for like bigger changes that are coming in. Okay, so let's take a look and see how the oracle cards just want to join this conversation for you. Bright heart light. That's beautiful. So she's in the forest here, which I love for you, that gorgeous earth medicine that you connect with so beautifully. Open connections. I mean, you have really stunning guide cards with the Two of Cups and the Lovers coming through, the Knight of Cups. So there is a firm emphasis around bringing in a lot more love and opening up that heart space. And of course, Capricorn energy is that 5th house for you. So there's this ability to realign with the romanticism of life. If you felt a bit jaded, a bit disenchanted with things, you know, there's a opening back up. There's this creative energy that's allowing you to kind of get more playful again, find more value in the things that just let you connect to your inner child. And there's like a heartfelt authenticity with her. She's just coming forth with like a real sense of meaningfully wanting to share how she feels. And I think that's going to be important as well, because, you know, it's not always the easiest thing for you, Virgo, but I actually feel, looking at this reading, that you are going to be wearing your heart on your sleeve, even if you feel quite nervous and quite tense in order to sort of have to deliver that. And even though if it might feel like a little bit of inner conflict, that Page of Wands here for me is beautiful, because it just demonstrates to me that you're ready to do things a little bit differently. You're ready to want to share what it is that you need, how you feel those relationships can be improved by really telling people how they can treat you, how they can best support you. And I think personally, professionally, romantically, it's going to make an enormous difference for you, because you're just going to feel like, I'm being true to myself, and that really matters. Okay, so let's have a look at your astrology cards. Oh, well, there we go. 5th house. Okay, we're just talking about this. So Capricorn energy is 5th house for you, passion. And I love that we have the artist's easel here. You really do get to paint a completely new picture for yourself from January. You know, it's not a month where you have to figure the whole year out for yourself. You don't need to be deciding what all of the goals are. In fact, I don't really aspire to January being the new year. Let's take it to equinox, or the beginning of the astrological year. But really, I think this is a time when you are going to be feeling more inspired than you have for some time. And that's important, even in the backdrop of things that feel like they are trying to pull you in an opposite direction. I just feel like Spirit are helping you to reconnect to a lighter, higher vibrational energy, and that's going to mean everything. Yeah, and that's what's going to help you to kind of accept something, accept the truth of it, so that you don't get pulled down, sucked down into this lower, denser vibe that just simply isn't representative of actually who you are, the growth that has happened for you, what you want for yourself. Yeah. But again, the passion coming through here. So some of you are set to have some really interesting turn of events in terms of some of those more romantic relationships through the course of this month. And the word devotion comes through quite strongly for me. So maybe getting very clear about who you want to devote to, or feeling that sense of devotion from another, is also something that feels like it wants to be part of your pathway. So this is a deck called the Blindspot. It's a really wonderful opportunity to kind of deal with some of, like they said, the blind spots, the shadow work. Packs a punch, Virgo, I'm not going to lie. But it's a beautiful opportunity to kind of really dig a little bit deeper into things. So these sigils represent different themes. And I'm going to cover off what your particular theme is in our extended reading, but you have number 45, okay? All of the decks that I use are in the description box underneath, and you can follow that through if you are interested. So this is a general reading for January, Virgo. Let's invite you to think about a personal question that I might not have covered, and again, we'll look at that in the extended reading for you. If you're new to the channel, the extended reading, we're going to discuss this in more depth for another 20 minutes or so, give you additional insights, also just a way to support the work in the channel, which I'm very grateful for. Okay, let's begin with the energy of love. Okay, we have the water energy, King of Cups coming through. But again, I just feel it's the expression of how you're feeling or someone else is feeling towards you. And even if this isn't coming in romantically for some of you, it definitely denotes like a warmth and an openness, which I like. There's your Knight of Pentacles again. Definitely feels like commitment there, but a little twist with the Devil. We'll look into that. Four of Pentacles. Chariot. Four of Swords. You are really being challenged to change a little bit, and I know it's not easy. But you kind of come too far. You've come too far. The transition into this new energy is too strong. The pull to kind of go all the way now, really with you. A lot of nice charging forward energy there with the Chariot coming through, the Knight of Wands. Nice, double Ace of Swords. I do feel it can be a very prosperous time in January, with this review of your whole relationship to money, Virgo. Like I said, multiple options, multiple income streams. Like there's new inspiration coming in here to support that. So be open to it if it's something that you've been struggling with or trying to see where you can elevate. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to wish you beautiful blessings for this month of January. If you're joining me for the extended, the link is in the description box. Can't wait to see you there, Virgo. You take good care.